Tonight, the email trail. What led to the surprise resignation of CIA Director David Petraeus? Bob Orr has the latest. With tens of thousands still suffering from Superstorm Sandy, a volunteer army pitches in to help. Our Tony Guida watched them at work.
I'm astounded by the response from New York.
Challenges facing China's new leaders. Bill Whitaker shows us just how far the country has come in a single generation. And take a look at the latest muscle car. You won't believe whose muscle created it. Priya Clemens introduces us to the design team.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Jim Axelrod. We are learning more tonight about the investigation that led to the abrupt resignation of CIA Chief and retired four-star General David Petraeus. Petraeus admitted to an affair and submitted his resignation to President Obama. And now it turns out it was the FBI that discovered the relationship was with his biographer. Homeland Security correspondent Bob Orr is standing by in Washington tonight. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening, Jim. Well, David Petraeus is one of America's most decorated and revered generals. As head of the CIA, he was in charge of the nation's most sensitive operations. But the rigidly disciplined Petraeus was hiding his own dark secret.
Good to see you anyway.
Sources say CIA Director David Petraeus was never the target of an FBI investigation. But when his name surfaced in another probe, agents became concerned that Petraeus or his email accounts may have been compromised. It all began a few months ago when a female acquaintance of the CIA director received a series of harassing emails, which apparently referenced Petraeus. The woman, who sources say is not a government official, notified the FBI. Federal agents quickly traced those emails back to Petraeus' biographer, Paula Broadwell. A further investigation then revealed evidence of an extramarital affair, including numerous cryptic emails between the retired four-star general and Broadwell. Broadwell spent time with Petraeus when he commanded forces in Afghanistan, doing research for her book, All In, The Education of General David Petraeus. On a publicity tour last February, the married mother of two children made this comment.
I'm not in love with David Petraeus, but I think he does present a terrific role model for young people, for executives, for men and women, no matter what.
Petraeus, who is also a married father of two, publicly praised his wife Holly during his Senate confirmation hearing.
She is an Army daughter, an Army wife, an Army mother, and an advocate for military families. I've been blessed to have had her in my corner for some 37 years and 23 moves. And I appreciate the opportunity this afternoon to recognize her publicly.
But in his resignation message to the CIA workforce, Petraeus confessed a moral failing, saying he used extremely poor judgment, which was unacceptable, both as a husband and as the leader of an organization such as ours. The FBI investigation now is winding down. There's no evidence that any sensitive CIA information was ever compromised, and no one's expected Jim to face any criminal charges.
Bob Orr in Washington, thank you. 4 days after Election Day, Florida made it official. President Obama is the narrow winner there. After counting provisional and absentee ballots, Florida's Secretary of State says the president defeated Mitt Romney by some 74,000 votes, just enough to avoid an automatic recount. With his Florida victory, Mr. Obama ends up with a final tally of 332 electoral votes to Romney's 206. In parts of the Northeast this weekend, patience with the slow pace of recovery from Superstorm Sandy is running as low as gasoline and power. Tens of thousands of homes and businesses in New York and New Jersey remain without power tonight. On Long Island, hundreds of angry people demonstrated outside the headquarters of the local power authority for a second straight day. With utilities and public agencies strained to the breaking point, volunteers are rushing to fill the gap. Here's Tony Guida.
12 days ago, Sandy slammed into the Rockaways. The storm drowned everything here except hope.
You need help? Your parents do. What's their address?
Jamie Jordan and her sister Jillian, Rockaways born and bred, have been working relentlessly to save it.
Beach 140th Street.
Oh, that's my block.
Before FEMA, before the Red Cross, before any assistance arrived, the Jordan sisters organized volunteers to help reclaim the community. John McCann's basement, for example, 8 feet of salt water destroyed it. Today, 4 volunteers helped McCann strip it bare to prevent mold. They were sent by the Jordan sisters.
They took it bull by the horns, and they've been running with it ever since.
When we sent out volunteers, we would say, "You're going to Gloria's house. Her husband passed away, and she's there all by herself, and she needs her basement emptied completely."
Doing that kind of thing just multiplied throughout the community.
And the word spread like wildfire.
Howard Schneider is glad it did. Sandy hit him hard.
When we come here, sometimes there's strangers in our house just digging.
A phalanx of volunteers dug the beach out of Schneider's basement. He says never in his life has he hugged so many strangers.
What these volunteers have done just today alone would have taken me 5 months to do.
The Jordan sisters take no bows for what they're doing. They credit a citywide community spirit.
I'm astounded by the response from New York, how they've come down in droves. It's overwhelming and frankly astounding that they would come down here and want to do this kind of work.
Jamie and Jillian Jordan say they'll thank everyone properly next summer with a big Memorial Day party on their reclaimed beach. Tony Guidas, CBS News, The Rockaways, New York.
Sandy did a number on more than homes and other structures. Cars and trucks took a big hit as well, from the vehicles and owners' driveways and garages to brand new imports fresh off the boat. Mark Strassman has that part of the story.
That's going to be for my wife, yes.
In Avenel, New Jersey, Nelson Burgos bought this new Nissan Juke today. He had no choice. Sandy's floodwaters destroyed both cars sitting in his parking lot.
It's all full of water. There's still water in the glove compartment.
Burgos got a deal, $1,500 below dealer invoice.
Finance charge.
Sansone Auto Mall alone today will sell 50 new cars to storm victims. They're eligible for special discounts from Nissan and other automakers.
$1,500 comes in handy, yes, and in the time of need where we're at right now.
Congratulations.
In Queens, New York, Jerry Aliberti bought 2 Nissans to replace the 2 cars he lost during the hurricane.
The seats are all soaked. They're inundated with this muck, this dirty water that infiltrated the car.
Across the Northeast, Sandy damaged or destroyed at least 100,000 cars and trucks. Full replacement value, at least $3 billion. Coppell Nissan, where Aliberti bought his new cars, lost 150 vehicles to Sandy. And at the Port of Newark, North America's major entry point for finished cars, floodwaters ruined 11,000 new ones. The good news? About 75% of car owners have comprehensive insurance policies that cover flood damage, like Nelson Burgos, who still needs to buy himself a car, so he can stop paying $400 a week to rent one.
And this is like moving forward one more step.
Yeah, that's correct.
And now you just got to buy one more car.
I have to buy one more.
This is Mile Square Towing in Hoboken. Sandy's storm surge pushed 7 feet of flood water into this building, while out on the street, water lapped over the roofs of cars. Tow trucks bring a dozen ruined vehicles just like these in here every day, so insurance inspectors can certify the losses and their owners can find new car deals of their own. Jim?
Mark Strassman in New Jersey for us tonight. Thank you. Overseas now, the newly elected leader of Syria's main opposition group today criticized the international community for not doing enough to help overthrow the regime of Bashar al-Assad. Assad told Russian TV there is no civil war and that Syrians support him. But as Holly Williams reports, there is no end to the bloodshed.
Syria is being laid to waste. Shattered by 20 months of grinding conflict that's turned cities into war zones and once peaceful neighborhoods into rubble. Today, 2 suicide bombers killed at least 20 government soldiers, according to opposition groups. The target was a military facility in Deraa, where the Syrian uprising began last year amid hopes that the regime could be toppled. Instead, the government is determined to stay in power, and tens of thousands of Syrians have paid with their lives. This young boy survived an attack that tore through concrete walls. He was carried away, but not to safety, because he lives in a country at war with itself. Yesterday, 11,000 Syrians fled their country in one of the biggest exoduses since the fighting began. Most crossed into Turkey, driven by deadly clashes close to the border in the town of Ras Al Ain. More than 400,000 Syrian refugees are now living in camps. The United Nations expects 300,000 more by early next year. And millions of people still inside Syria need food and clothing as the winter sets in. But getting them that help in a country torn apart by civil war may be impossible. Holly Williams, CBS News, London.
Later, how economic growth is transforming China. A designer car powered by a surprising design team. And the Super PAC scorecard. Did big money pay off big at the polls? Those stories when the CBS Evening News continues. President Obama and House Speaker Boehner continue to stake out their ground in the debate over the looming fiscal cliff. Both made radio addresses today. The president said any compromise must include higher taxes for families making more than $250,000 a year. The speaker called instead for closing special interest loopholes. Campaign 2012 was the most expensive ever. Overall spending topped the $6 billion mark, driven by super PACs. As Michelle Miller now tells us, many low-profile candidates benefited from super PAC money, cash that in some cases came from a single person.
My job is to make sure that I do represent your best interests.
Kerry Bentivolio won his election this week as a freshman congressman from Michigan.
I'm never, ever going to raise taxes unless there's a war.
This former school teacher and political newcomer might not have gotten this far without a super PAC. Liberty for All spent $800,000 to help Bentivolio win his Republican primary.
You know, God bless him, because it was wonderful.
The backing came from John Ramsey, a 22-year-old college senior from Texas who inherited millions from his grandfather and launched the Political Action Committee.
We did this to get in the business of freeing America from your phonies and cronies that currently dominate the political establishment.
Ramsey is a libertarian who believes in lower taxes, less government spending, and more civil liberties. When Ron Paul dropped out of the presidential race, Ramsey looked for a new outlet for his political energy.
I'm going to go to Washington, D.C., and we're going to get things fixed.
Businessman Thomas Massey won a House seat in Kentucky Tuesday. Ramsey's super PAC spent $600,000 to support him.
With a super PAC, you're able to facilitate a conversation. You're able to provide voters access to information.
I'm Tim Bishop. How are you? Nice to see you.
Democrat Tim Bishop, a 5-term New York congressman, was the target of another small super PAC created to remove him from office.
The big hearts beat big checks every day of the week.
Bishop was hit by $1 million in negative ads and direct mail from Prosperity First. $750,000 came from one constituent, hedge fund manager Robert Mercer. Mercer declined to answer questions, but Bishop believes he might have been motivated by Bishop's vote for new financial industry regulation.
What it was designed to do is to fix some of the systemic problems that resulted in the worst financial collapse this country has had since the Great Depression.
Can I count on you to support Representative Bishop?
Bishop's was one of 63 House races this year where outside groups like super PACs spent $1 million or more.
What I fear we're approaching is a process in which elections are bought and sold as opposed to won and lost.
Bishop was able to hold on to his seat, still spending in races for the House, the Senate, and the presidency by outside groups topped $1 billion this year. Michelle Miller, CBS News, New York.
Ahead, China. What lies ahead for its new leaders? It is another leap forward for China in space. China announced plans to launch its 4th manned mission to space in June. The Shenzhou 10 rocket would carry 3 crew members to continue work toward a manned space station. China has said it's also working on landing a person on the moon. Now the world's #2 economy, change has come quickly to China. And next week, a new lineup of leaders will be chosen. Bill Whitaker is in Beijing.
By the time the People's Congress ends next week, Vice President Xi Jinping will be China's new president. His job for the next decade, to keep this powerhouse economy growing and the Communist Party in power.
I was last on assignment in China almost 20 years ago. A lot has changed in that time. I certainly have. Who would have thought that a nation of more than 1 billion people, the most populous in the world,
China has changed tremendously. Back then, Beijing was low-rise with Mao suits and bicycles. Beijing now is one big traffic jam with high-rises to the horizon. Designer shops seem to be on every corner. People here joke the crane is China's national bird.
Despite all these changes, actually because of them, the big story remains the same: China's tremendous economic growth.
The challenge for China's new leaders to sustain growth in the face of staggering problems: rampant political corruption, a widening gap between rich and poor, choking pollution, and a populace increasingly discontent about it all.
They got so many problems, and the economy is slowing down. The current economic model is running out of steam. They've got no choice but to reform.
My first assignment in China was to cover the brutal crackdown on student protesters on Tiananmen Square.
Chinese government television told its people and the world there was no conflict, that no one died at Tiananmen Square.
No one here talks about that anymore, but pressure for change today comes not from the square, but from across the country.
The party really doesn't have a lot of credibility beyond economic development because of the history of all the terrible political persecution and things that have gone on here. So for the Chinese people, it's all about, do I have a better life?
How China's new leaders answer that question could determine the future of the Communist Party and China. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Beijing.
And we'll be back. In Washington state, a military court heard testimony on a video feed from Afghanistan about a massacre last March. U.S. Staff Sergeant Robert Bales is accused of murdering 16 Afghan civilians, most of them children. One of the eyewitnesses, a 14-year-old boy, testified that he saw an American soldier shooting and begged him to stop, screaming, quote, "We are children, we are children." Bales was in the courtroom but showed no emotion. Pakistan today marked Malala Day. Children across the country turned out to show their support for the 15-year-old girl shot in the head by the Taliban last month. They also called on the world to join Malala's campaign for girls' rights to an education. Malala is recovering in a British hospital. His flock numbers 1 billion Catholic faithful, but now Pope Benedict is going to add some followers. The Vatican says the 85-year-old pontiff has opened a Twitter account. No word yet on a handle. Coming up, a new breed of muscle car designers muscling into the spotlight. Finally tonight, the fully loaded muscle car has long been a symbol of red-blooded American manhood. But as Priya Clemens shows us, the cars aren't changing, but who's designing them is.
As in any show dedicated to the automobile, the car is the star. But sharing the spotlight for this 2013 Mustang GT is the team behind it. 40 women who work in the auto industry, banding together to create, design, and install every part. Cars aren't just a hobby, they're a passion.
My very favorite car is my own car, a 1955 Studebaker Champion.
For Kristen Klein, it was a whim at first.
I bought a car knowing nothing. I had never changed a tire, never changed oil.
Now she's rebuilding engines.
This is the project that I'm working on right now. It's a 1960 Ford Falcon.
Once Kristen had visions of medical school.
Yes,
now
my dream is to one day own my own garage.
Rachel DeBarros is a mechanic currently building 4 cars. Her favorite?
51 Ford F1.
how can you not have the Sanford & Son truck? I mean, it's awesome.
As for crew chief Kelly Kolf,
a 68 Firebird, oh, I will never part with it. Not ever. I will be buried in that car.
As they blaze a trail, they deal with stereotypes.
Oh, your man's letting you drive his car. How special. And, little do they know I've done, all the work myself, and really it's my car.
I've gone so far at various times in the past to have a license plate that says hers.
The completed Mustang is also defying gender roles.
Everybody thinks if a woman's going to customize a car, it's going to be pink, it's going to be cute. We like to build some pretty bad monsters as well, and I'd like to not put some fuzzy dice on there.
Underneath, they've got themselves nearly a race car, and nobody's going to be expecting that.
Someone's about to find out. The Mustang sold at auction this week for $46,000. The money going to a scholarship fund to help future designers, men and women. Priya Clemens, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Jim Axelrod. Good night.